Ladies and gentlemen, we have a problem. It's a very big problem. This year, 6,000 people will take their own life in the UK. That's 6,000 mums, dads, boys, girls, 6,000 people. Every single one of those deaths will cost the state, us, £1.68 million. That's a Public Health England number, not a calm number. But that isn't the real price. The real price are the people who die and the people who are left behind. For every one of those 6,000 suicides, there are 135 people directly affected. 19% of people directly affected by suicide will go on to try to take their own life. This is catching. It's also a gender issue. So, with the Economist perspective, we go to where the problem is its most acute. And it's most acute in the UK as it is around the world amongst men. So for every 100 suicides, 75% of those are male. And this problem leads us to the fact that, thankfully, more and more of us are understanding, and that is that suicide is the single largest killer of young men in this country. And it affects everybody. So at Calm, we talk about our boys, our dads, our husbands, our boyfriends, our friends, our classmates, our teammates, our colleagues. And whilst the issue is gender-focused, Calm is never, ever gender-exclusive. Our support comes from people who have found themselves close to the problem. It comes from people who have been horribly, woundingly, life-changingly affected by the death of a loved one. And our support splits pretty much male-female, and we apply our solutions to those audiences in equal measure. What I want to do is play you a film by one of our supporters.
When you think about people who have depression, my original thoughts were very much around what on earth have they got to be depressed about, especially, people in our circumstance. People would look at us with, decent jobs, quality lives. What on earth have we got to be depressed about? I think he was trying. I think he, expressed to other people that he was feeling a bit low, and that's the term that I remember him using a lot, feeling a bit low. To listen to somebody that you love describe that they're suicidal, and you can't see anything that's wrong in their lives, but it's just what's going through their head, leaves you feeling so useless. I saw a different pattern to Jonathan's behaviour. There was one week where it happened constantly. He wasn't getting out of bed. That was the week when he I don't think I can articulate how difficult that is.
Okay, but we're here to help. So we do this in a number of ways. Probably most importantly to dwell on two. We campaign, and we campaign for societal change. We campaign for people to be able to question their existence, for a life less miserable. We campaign for a happier life for people, and we do that pretty well. We do that with supporters like the Duke of Cambridge and Rio Ferdinand, more from Rio later, to change behaviours. So this is called Best Man Project, and this is asking the question of why is it we're only able to be really nice to our best mate once in our lifetime. After that, we've got to go back to taking the mickey. But just when they get married, we're able to be really nice. So we do these kind of Trojan horse things. But we also grab hold of the country and we shake it, and we say, if we're not talking about suicide, we are not confronting it. And if we don't confront it, we cannot prevent it. And so most recently, we did a huge thing called Project 84 with ITV, where we put statues of men who have died, which were made by bereaved families, onto towers down the South Bank. And we did it pretty well. So you can see here Google searches for male suicide. We wanted people to talk about male suicide. What you can see here is 300% of the previous ever high search rate on Google. And we operate, most importantly, at the front line.
Calm's main frontline service is our helpline and web chat. It's open 365 days a year. It's confidential, anonymous, and non-judgmental. We use highly trained staff rather than volunteers because it allows us to provide more than just a listening service. We provide practical, non-clinical support, which appeals to people who generally don't interact with NHS mental health services. Most importantly, we intervene. If somebody comes to us in the midst of taking their own life, we will help them and we will save their life. Whether that means empowering them to remove themselves from a situation where they're in harm or getting a blue light service out to them. This year so far, we've prevented 456 suicides. That's more than we prevented in the whole of last year. Each month, we take around 7,700 calls and web chats. This is fantastic, but it barely scratches the surface. At the moment, we're receiving around 13 to 14,000 calls and web chats every single month, and that's a huge amount of people that aren't being supported. What's really important is that we keep reaching out to people with our campaigns, but it drives up demand, and we can't leave that demand unanswered. The problem with traditional helplines is that they're not scalable. We could fill warehouses full of staff, and we'd never be able to meet the demand that comes from our campaigns and from people seeking help that they need. Also, the queue system doesn't prioritise. Imagine going to an A&E department and everybody just being seen in the order that they arrive. It's not practical, and why we wouldn't accept it in an A&E department, so why would we accept it on a helpline? Also, the form and the UI do not meet user expectation. Much of the demand that we're seeing being driven to our web chat service is from a younger audience. They're on social media, they've got their device in their hand 24/7, and what they want is the answers and the help they need in their hand 24/7.
Right, so we often hear about technology being the problem. It's not. It's the solution. And the solution comes in the form of Rio. Rio is cutting-edge thinking applied to a problem at scale, and Rio is an AI-enabled triage service that will radically improve human-to-human help. We are not replacing humans. What Rio can do is make the route to humans and the efficacy of those humans on their limited hours much better. So what is it? It's the landing point for everybody that comes to our helpline through a digital means. Everybody that's typing is platform agnostic. It self-identifies as a machine, and through dialogue, it assesses user needs, and it triages them to the right outcome. And that outcome can be one of three things. It could be immediate human help. If somebody is going to die, we want to get them up that A&E queue and get them in front of a human right away so we can get those 500 people saved every year. It might not be that. It might be that somebody needs some content. They might need to learn about something. We can direct them there. We can direct them to other services. Or it might be that we need to get a blue light service out to somebody immediately. As this grows, the user data at the back end, because this is a machine learning product, will allow us to understand general need cases and specificity. So we can grow a corpus of knowledge which is unrivaled. And in doing so, we end up with a truly scalable product. We all know how technology can deal with big numbers. Humans can't do that. We can grow that to 24/7. Right now, we can only afford seven hours a day. We're missing people everywhere. It prioritizes that queue. It's of vital importance. Think if your dad, your son, your husband is on or you're calling for them and you have to wait and you don't get through, we can prioritize with Rio. And really importantly, the form and the UI fits the market for 2018. Right now, we have a web chat product, as do many other charities, which is clunky, which wouldn't never pass a UX kind of review for British Airways or a bank. However, this is what we push out in front of people. And we know that younger audiences want to use different techniques. They want to use WhatsApp and other services. So we're going to finish up. Why Calm and why Rio? It's bespoke. It's fit for purpose. There are plenty of bot services out there. They're not good enough. Rio will learn, adapt and grow, and our connection to partner charities mean that as we do that, we will hand this over to trusted partners under strict SLAs to contribute to the knowledge corpus, to grow this service and to make it truly usable for many other people. Your impact will be profound. You will change what we are. You will change what we're doing already. We'll take those 500 lives saved this year and we'll grow it and grow it. We want to see a 20% improvement in helpline services, in human efficiency on those helpline services across multiple partners. And we want to work with you for you to lead the way for technological change into our sector and into many other sectors, helping people at the point of crisis. One final film and then we're finished. I'd just like to play you a film from another one of our supporters. Thank you.
It was like an out-of-body experience. Just had voices in my head a lot of the time, lost enjoyment in everything. But I know I was in such a bad place that I had to reach out, getting to the point where I was seriously thinking about taking my own life. When I contacted Calm, I didn't know what to expect, and I think that's a real difficulty for a lot of people who were in a similar situation. And I had a couple of light bulb moments within that conversation, just little things that the person said. But for me, and as I'm talking now, I can feel the relief sort of coming over me. It was somebody who could relate to the situation, but had empathy, but also was able to direct as well, and started to change my life. Thankful to Calm in terms of the support that Calm's give us both, and that sort of new lease of life, I guess.
I think we're more aware, and it's just brilliant knowing that the support's there.